Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 98 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and celebrating myself. So, yay for day 98. Okay, so for day 98, I took one of the ideas my sister-in-law gave me, and it was failure. And at first, I was going to do failure and giving up, and then I decided failure and starting over because she said failure like in reference to what was it, Einstein or something like that. And his thing about the light bulbs, and it didn't take him, he didn't fail, he just learned 1,000 different ways not to make a light bulb or something like that. So he didn't look at his failures as a bad thing. He looked at them as a learning experience. As well, that one didn't work, let's try the next one. So I think maybe in my celebrating different things, I've celebrated trying and things like that. So I may have mentioned like stuff about giving up or failing. I know when I do my extremes, I always talk about my epic failure, even though it's not an epic fail. It's just I failed, or I just didn't um, succeed, or I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to, or things didn't happen in the way that I wanted them to. So then I feel like I failed, even though I didn't actually fail. So kind of looking at in that light a little bit. I kind of liked my sister-in-law's view of it, and then I kind of like the idea of starting over. And I'm not sure if I mentioned any of that in previous videos. This is one of those things that's really hard because I keep coming up with ideas now that I'm done with 100 days of things to celebrate. But I already celebrated all this stuff, and I may be redoing celebrating things or overlapping celebrating things. So if this kind of overlaps something else I did previously, I'm sorry. I'm also like really, really tired and wishing I'd already had these videos done, but I want to finish them. So here we go. Anyway, which I mean, for me, this could also be, that I failed a little bit because I didn't make a video every single day, even though I celebrated something about myself every single day. So technically, yesterday or Sunday, whatever day today is when I finished my 100th day, and today I'm doing my video for day 98. So it's kind of like I failed. I'm 2-3 days behind on my videos. But I'm still making my videos. I'm still starting over. I'm still finishing what I started, basically. And a lot of times in my life, when I feel like I failed or I didn't meet a deadline, I I quit. I give up. I don't try anymore, and that's really sad. And sometimes I'll just keep pushing the deadline back. So I'm like, oh, I can still do it because I'm just changing the deadline. And I know the deadline for these videos. I don't really have a deadline for them. I'm just doing 100 days of, and it never in all of it said it has to be a consecutive 100 days, but it just kind of makes sense to be a consecutive 100 days of videos. And I'm sure a year from now, if people are watching these videos, all 100 days will be in a row, and it's not that big of a deal. Maybe a little disappointing to the handful of people that are watching my videos every day. I was like, oh, Midge missed a day here. Oh, she missed a day here. Oh, she's catching up. I'm so happy. It's okay. But I had a sponsor in my Al-Anon 12-step program, and she would always remind me that you can start over at any time during the day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how your day has gone. It doesn't matter how bad you're feeling, how many things have gone wrong in the day, how much you feel like you failed, whatever the case may be. You can start over at any point in your day and be like, okay, from this point forward, I'm going to focus on gratitude. From this point forward, I'm going to do something different. From this point forward, I am going to work on something positive. Whatever it is, from this point forward, I'm going to do the stuff that I've been avoiding or just haven't finished for the day. So this point forward, I can start over and I can do better. And I really like that. I really like that I can start my day at any point. And I think a lot of times, especially right now, and all of the changes I'm attempting to make, and all of the depression and the weird hours that I work, that it's kind of like I'm learning that I just don't like to get up in the mornings or the afternoons or whatever it is I first wake up. And it takes me a while. So sometimes I don't actually start my day until a couple hours after I woke up. And I'm learning that that's okay because at least I'm starting my day. At least I'm getting things accomplished that I wanted to accomplish for the day. And I'm very proud of myself for those things that I'm accomplishing. And they may be not happening in a specific order, and I may be not sticking to a specific schedule, but it doesn't mean that I'm failing either. It means that I'm learning, I'm working on it, I'm working on making some changes in my life. I'm learning to listen to my body and understand how I do things and how I work. So I'm working with myself and my attitude instead of working against myself and my attitude. So instead of constantly fighting myself on when to do stuff and how to do stuff and having to do things in a certain order, because that stresses me out, and then I feel overwhelmed, and then I don't want to do things, or I feel like I'm constantly behind and I'm constantly trying to play catch up, and then I just feel like I'm never going to get caught up, and then I feel like I failed, and then I just want to give up and I quit. And it's really frustrating for me. And that's my pattern. It's like anytime I feel like I failed, then I just want to quit. And I do quit for a while. I honestly do. I just can't deal with it. And then I will think about it. And after a while, I'll be like, okay, I need to start over. And I am really grateful that there is some reset button in my brain that no matter how much I try to give up on something, like maybe my writing, my books, whatever, even though they're not published yet, I keep going back to them. I'm like, okay, that idea just won't go away, so I guess I'll get back to it. And these videos, I'm a few days behind, which normally I would be like, okay, I'm behind, I can't do this, I'm quitting, I'm done. And I haven't done that. I'm like, okay, and I wanted to get them all done on day 100, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Probably because I picked things like procrastination and failure to celebrate right before I do it, because I just always feel the emotion of whatever day I'm celebrating, and then I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing it today because that's how I'm feeling, like I failed and it's time to start over. I'm ready for something new, something different to celebrate, something different to make videos about instead of myself. But all of my videos are about myself in some form or another. Hopefully they're insightful to other people. Hopefully I'm not the only one that's as crazy as this. Maybe there's people that are more crazy. Maybe some people that are not as crazy. But I know we all have similar struggles in life. Everyone struggles with something. And so it's just a learning process for me to understand how I work. I'm sure it's a learning process for all of you to figure out what works for you and how things work for you. And it's different for everybody. So I'm learning. I can't just judge and that's the other thing. I feel like I fail based on what I see of other people's lives. And it's based on what I see of other people's lives, not what I know about their lives, not what I know what's going on in detail and things like that. Because I get close to people and find out all the details going on in their life. I'm like, oh, you look so much more put together than what's going on in your life. And I'm like, maybe I do too. But I have a tendency to feel like I failed based on other people's successes or what I see in other people, or based on my overactive imagination. As much as I love my imagination, I think it sets my expectations way too high, and I have these grandiose ideas as to what my life may be or could be, and probably never will be because it's just way too over the top. But it's entertaining. And then when what I'm doing in reality is nothing compared to the fantasy, the imagination, the ideal in my brain, the unrealistic ideal in my brain, might I add, then I feel like I'm failing, or I feel like I failed, and I want to give up. But I am so grateful that I have learned, and I'm learning that I can start over. And I am so grateful that there seems to be a reset button in my brain. Granted, I don't like when it resets back to all my default settings of shutting down and not functioning and not doing anything. But there is that reset button that says, okay, we're just going to wipe the slate clean and start over. We're going to get up and do this again. We're going to try again. We are not done. This is not over. And I'm really grateful for that button. I think it's one that the Lord installed in me. Heavenly Father's like, I know you need this little reset button that every once in a while when you get really depressed and really discouraged, it's going to happen. And then I'm just going to remind you, I'm just going to push this little button that says, okay, it's time to start over again. We're done. We're done being depressed. It's that little readiness button I think I have in my brain that says, okay, I'm hitting the brakes because I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm shutting down. And it's like, all right, been shut down long enough. It's time to get back to work. So that little readiness thing pops on. It's like, all right, green light, red light's gone. It's green light. We can go now. We can work. It's okay. and it does that for me. And I'm grateful it has that little red green light thing going in there. I don't think it has the yellow caution button. That would be nice. Warning that we're going to slow down, warning that there's something going on. Or if it does, I'm just not aware of it, because I think I've just spent way too much of my life ignoring the little caution button that says, hey, caution, proceed with caution. Hey, slow down. Maybe you're not ready to go there yet. Take it easy. I was like, I either hit go until I hit the red, then it's like, okay, whoa, overboard, too much, too fast, we're done. And then I shut down, and then I'm like, oh, I failed. Life is over. It's miserable. I can't do this. And then it's like, okay, we relax, we breathe, we let go of everything. We're bored. We need something to do. All right, green light. Let's start over. Let's do this. We can do this. We got this. We're awesome. We can do this. This is my life. Seriously. It really is. It really is. But as many times as I think I've given up on things and given up on life, I know that God has never given up on me. And I am really grateful for that. And no matter how many times I fail at something, I can learn from it. And I am learning to learn from my mistakes. I still struggle with that. And I think a lot of times when I got criticism, I didn't realize that there was such a thing as helpful criticism. And I think helpful criticism, rather than calling it criticism, is more lessons, someone trying to teach you, someone trying to help you become better. So I think those are just more like lessons. I'm like, there's a lesson to be learned in this. Let me help you learn this lesson. Let me point out something that will help you become better. Let me assist you in whatever it is you're doing. And I like that approach a whole lot better than criticism, which to me is just putting you down. So I'm like, helpful criticism isn't really helpful if it's criticizing, because criticism is just putting someone down for not doing the job the way that you think they should have done it, or making them feel bad for doing it. And then it's like, yes, you're pointing out that they made a mistake, but then you're making them feel bad about it. And you don't have to make them feel bad. You can be like, all right, this was a mistake. I understand it was a mistake. Let's see how we can learn from this mistake, how we can fix this so this doesn't happen again, and work together on it. And I'm grateful for that. And I've learned a lot about that with my writing and my mentor and my friends and the information they're giving me back on my writing. And they're correcting what I'm doing. They're correcting my mistakes. They're saying this would be better this way, or this would be better that way. Or they ask questions. So obviously I need to fill in the blanks and go back and figure something out. Or they're like, this doesn't make sense. Maybe you can rewrite it. And I'm just kind of on my own trying to figure out the best way to rewrite it. But it gives me opportunities to learn and to grow and to change. And I like that. And so then, because initially when I started writing books years and years ago, when I attempted to do it, every time I would get some kind of feedback, and that's all it was just feedback. Another word instead of criticism, just feedback. I would either throw out everything I did and rewrite to try to please the person that gave me the feedback, or I would just look at it and feel overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And I would get totally discouraged and give up. And then eventually I just stopped listening or asking for anybody's opinion, and I just wrote this big, huge, long book, and I'm like, yes, I finished it. I'm awesome, amazing. And I had no idea about point of view characters. I have no idea about how to like transition from whose point of view you're doing in the story. I had no idea that you're only supposed to write from like 2 or 3 characters' points of views, because more than that is too confusing to the reader. I had no idea how to write to a reader, but I wrote a book, and I was very proud of myself for that. That is a book that will probably never be published. Well, the book itself may be published once it's been revised and rewritten like a gazillion times, but the original version that I'm so proud that I finished doing will probably never be published, because it's just nightmarish now, and I can see that. But I'm so proud of myself for doing it, because I actually wrote the entire thing, and I was like, yes, I got all the ideas down, I got the entire story out, the whole thing, and it's awesome. And now I just have to go back and rewrite it, which is again a daunting thing, and I'm like, ugh. But in this case, I don't feel like I failed in writing a book. I don't feel like I failed in that. I feel like I'm still learning. I feel like every time that I write it or rewrite it, that I make it a little bit better, that I get a little bit closer to where it's going to get published, and that it's going to be a good book that people like to read. And maybe not everybody's going to like my book, and maybe not everybody's going to read it, and it may never be on the bestseller list, but it will be published, and I look forward to that, and I'm excited about that. I'm nervous about that, but I know that I can continue to learn, and I can continue to start over, and I can continue to grow, and I am super grateful for all of that. I really am, and I am grateful for my sister-in-law's suggestion to celebrate my failures, because I've had a lot. I have had a lot of failures in my life, and honestly, when my marriage ended, I thought I'd failed. I really thought that I had failed, and that my life was over. But at some point, I had to start again, because I had to start over, because I can't just keep pining over that or feeling like I can never have anything like that in the future ever again either. But it has taught me so much about myself and how I respond to things. And in the process of trying to start over, I am having to learn who I am all over again, and realizing that I did not fail in that relationship. And maybe I wasn't perfect and I made mistakes, because I'm not perfect and I make mistakes. But I'm not the reason that relationship failed or ended. But I'm grateful I'm not in that relationship. It's hard. It's hard trying to maintain a relationship with my stepkids. But I try, because they're my kids. They're the only kids I've ever had. They may be the only children I ever do have. So, and I'm not perfect at that either. I'm pretty sure I fail at being a stepmom all the time, but I try anyway. And I still love my kids, and I am grateful to have them in my life. For every chance that I get to spend with them, I am grateful for that, and I feel truly blessed. And so there are blessings and things that have come out of that relationship, even though it didn't work. And it's an opportunity for me to start over. And I think every time I fail in life, that one, I can learn something from it, and two, it gives me an opportunity to start over. Clean slate, wipe the slate clean and start over. Either pick up some of the pieces because maybe I got halfway there and I was sort of right, or just flat out throw it all out and start over again. Be like, all right, this just isn't working. It's time for a new idea. It's time for a new direction, and it's just time to start over. And I can do that. I'm good at that. Granted, sometimes my version of starting over is more like running away, like running away from home and moving to another state. But it was a fresh start for me, and I needed that. And, moving, fresh start, and I needed that. And so I think every time I make a change, or I change jobs or other things like that, it's because I need a fresh start. I need something new and different in my life, because whatever it is I'm doing is just not working, and it's time for something that does actually work. And maybe I will never figure out what actually works. Maybe I'll fail 1,000 times before I get something right. Maybe I have failed 1,000 times in my life. I don't know. But I always seem to start over. I always seem to go back to what works, to the things that I like, to journaling, to praying, to church, to my 12-step meetings, to things that help me to feel better about myself, that boost me up, that help me see the positive things in my life, to help me find gratitude in everything that I do, to change my attitude, to change my focus, to recognize that I can start over, that I can get that clean slate, that I can be like, okay, fresh start right now in the middle of my day, or right before I go to bed, whatever the case may be. I can start again. It is not the end. I have not failed forever. And just because I may have failed, or just because something didn't work out the way that I wanted to, doesn't mean that my life is over. Really thought it was after my divorce. Probably really thought it was a lot of times, every time I failed. Like I said, I always do that extreme epic failure. I don't think I've had an epic fail in my life. Although some things have felt like that. And just really been disappointed in myself, or in life. Or in God, because things didn't work out the way that I thought they should. But recognizing that God has a bigger plan, a better plan for me in my life, and that as I start over, as I change my focus, as I listen more to God's plan instead of mine, it works out a lot better. I still struggle with that. I still think I know better. I don't, but I still think I do. So, and inevitably, every time I think I do, I will fail. I will fail. And inevitably, after a while of, like I said, my red green buttons shut down, I will eventually, green light will come back on and I will start over because I have to. There's just something in me that says I have to start over, that I just can't stay down. I can't stay shut in. I can't stay locked up. I just go stir crazy. I'm like, I just can't do it. I have to get out. And I love that there's that part of me that just has to get out. Like, okay, we're done pouting. We're done hiding. We have to get out. We have to do stuff. And I fight that all the time. But I'm not fighting it as much as I used to. And I'm trying to learn to embrace it and enjoy it and be grateful for that part of me that just wants to get out, that just wants to keep trying. It's like, doesn't matter. We're going to do it anyway. And it doesn't matter if we fail, because if we failed, at least it means we tried. At least it means I'm living my life and I'm making an effort to do something. Because if I don't try, I will never know if I could succeed or not. And sometimes I think that's my fear, is I'm just as afraid of success as I am as failure, which is kind of an odd thing. But I'm like, I'm afraid of succeeding. I'm afraid of all of the attention. I'm afraid of getting something right, because I just have a hard time accepting the compliments. I have a hard time understanding or how to process or deal with the praise. I'm like, that is not common in my life for me. So praising myself, celebrating myself for 100 days has been really hard, having to see all of these wonderful things about myself and to retrain my brain and recognize that I'm not this horrible, unlovable person that I always thought that I was or felt like I was, that I'd fail at everything and I just not good at anything. And those are all lies. They're all lies that I've been telling myself my entire life. They're all things that I have misinterpreted based on other people's actions and responses to me. And their actions and responses were based on whatever is going on in their life, in their mind, in their version of reality, whatever that is, that may or may not have actually had anything to do with me. Or maybe I said or did something that may have triggered something in them that I was completely unaware of, because I grew up in a family, a world, whatever, or we just were not very good at communicating. Just not very good at communicating. Communication was not the thing that we did. We didn't talk about things. We didn't work things out. We yelled and screamed and we slammed doors and hid in the room. And if somebody was crying and screaming, you just bent over backwards to make them feel better. You didn't stand up for yourself. You apologized. You were a doormat, whatever. I don't know. At least I was. It was hard. It was just not a safe place to communicate, to learn how to deal with or process feelings. It was a place to learn how to bury feelings, to not talk about things, to not stir the pot. The idea was everybody should be peaceful and calm, and it didn't matter what was going on. Everybody was peaceful and calm, and we're all happy. And as soon as somebody's upset, then everybody's upset, and everybody explodes, and then it's this big, ginormous nightmare. And then everybody, slams doors, runs in the other room. They all calm down and come back like, I'm sorry. And then we all pretend that nothing happened. Yeah. And there's no resolution really either. That's just the insanity in my world. So I just did not understand how to process things. I'm still learning how to process things. Seriously, still learning. But I'm also learning that doesn't mean that I have failed my entire life. I have definitely made mistakes, lots of them. But I start over. And I think in failing or in celebrating failure, I have to celebrate that I start over in my life. That even though I have a tendency to shut down, there's always at some point where I'm like, okay, I have to start over. I have to try again. I can't stay buried. I can't stay shut down. And I have to put myself out there, even if it means I'm going to fail. And I think I'm more okay with failing than I am with succeeding. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm just going to go out there and have a blast and fail miserably, because that's what I do. And it'll be fun, and it's okay. The idea of actually going out there and succeeding or winning is kind of a little bit scarier for me, which is odd, kind of the opposite. I'm more okay with failing than I am with succeeding. But maybe the more I succeed and the more that I um, love myself and I'm grateful for the successes and the progress that I'm making in my life, it will make succeeding easier and better. And I felt amazing succeeding in 100 days of gratitude videos. It was torture getting through 100 days of writing, even though I love writing, but I did it. 100 days of today is done. 100 days of celebrating myself has probably been the hardest one I have had to do. And that is probably why I've skipped some days, because it's hard to do. And even the positive things are hard to face, but it's been amazing. It's been this amazing journey that I've been on, and I'm like, yay. And now this was day 98's video. I have 2 more videos to make. Yay. And then I am all done celebrating myself. But I think I will continue to find ways to celebrate myself, or at least to see the good, the joy, and the positive things in my life, or to recognize that all the things that I maybe don't like about myself aren't as bad as I make them out to be, and that I'm not as this big, ginormous failure that I thought I was, and that failing is not bad. Success is not bad either. And either way, I can always start over at any point, at any time in the day, whenever I need to. Just stop, take a break, take a breath, and just start over. And I am really grateful that I can do that too. And I hope that's helpful to you as well. You can always start over. So if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude. Find some fun, fabulous ways to celebrate yourself, and maybe do some writing.